Just a minute. Hey, Kenny. You know that you're live? Oh my goodness. I walk away for a moment and there you go.
Well, yesterday was National Donut Day, and I still had some remnants I thought I better clean up this morning. So as you well know, I have a deep affinity for glazed donuts. But
maybe.
Well, I'll have to finish that one later, I guess. But it's good. Okay, we should get back to where we are. This is Cars and Coffee. Welcome. We've got some really cool things for you today. We're going to talk about tips and top tips in purchasing a trailer. For those that really get into the track day and really start moving up and getting more and more experience, a lot of people would prefer to trailer their cars than drive it to the track. So we're going to talk about what's tips on trailers. And we'll have an example of one of the trailers we had built for one of our customers, because we actually can get custom trailers built for people. Oh, I should say, I'm Kenny Brown. This is Cars and Coffee. And just trailers is just one of the things we're going to talk about today. We also have some questions on the strain shocks on SN95 on the IRS cars. And we have some other questions from the Speed Therapy Society people. And so it's going to be a pretty good show today. If you're on YouTube, I remember, Carrie, if you're on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe button, and the bell to get notifications of episodes. And Facebook, please like and share with your buddies. And you can do a share party just by clicking something and you go to share. I guess some other things. I'm wearing my Mustang Challenge race shirt today, simply because I came in this morning and I still have all my notes on the board from Thursday night. This week in the Speed Therapy Academy was wheels and tires, and Thursday night was we talked about tire temperatures and adjusting pressures in the car. And what I did is I actually pulled out some of my sheets, tire temperature sheets from the World Mustang Challenge in 2010, and we kind of went through and analyzed the tires. We went from a test at Putnam, then we went all the way to the East Coast and to the New Jersey track and got the temperatures there, and then we went all the way back to the West Coast and went to Laguna, just simply because Laguna is an opposite track. Most tracks are clockwise, Laguna's anti-clockwise, so that's why that's Laguna up there for the number 44 car in the Mustang Challenge in 2010. So with that, I think we've got Jim Donato here this morning, who is a super expert in trailer, but he's not only a trailer expert, he's a car guy. I mean, his whole family are into cars. He used to have a dealership where they did a lot of foreign cars, the exact same types of cars I worked on back in the 70s, MGs, Fiats, Sunbeams, Triumphs, all those cars, and he used to work on those. Kind of cool. But he's actually helping a customer right now, so he'll be here in just a second. So with that, I think we can move into, I think we're going to jumble around. We're going to have him next, but we will get into some questions. Okay, we had, here's one. This is the 03 Cobra. He's looking to purchase an 03 Cobra and wants to know about doing our IRS system in phases due to budget. And I think a lot of people do that. We've got phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he wanted to know if a couple of questions he had. Can he use the stock arms with the coilovers? Unfortunately not. And I'll come back to that. And he at what point in the build process does he need coilovers? I'll get to that. And I'm kind of framing this up. And what's the best time to add the modified carrier? What he's talking about is we take the IRS carrier, we whack all the pickup points off, we whack off the back huge, great big mounting bracket in the back, and we put a regular plate that bolts right to the frame in the back so that the carrier doesn't move. And then we move all the pickup points, completely change the geometry. And we do quite a lot of it. I think we just did 5 of them right now at the powder coat. So that's a pretty popular thing, but I'll talk about that in a second. And then can you use aluminum diff bushings with a stock brace? So he's talking about the forward torque brace. I'll start from the bottom and work up. He's talking about these are aluminum diff bushings, and they're a pretty unique design. And the reason for that is, first of all, it's solid. I mean, there's a lot of people have urethane replacement bushings, which is pretty much the same. You get urethane top and bottom. But this actually does a number of different things because we use this washer system, this really cool washer system. It actually, if you think about it, kind of looks like a heat sink, okay? And it actually does work like a heat sink because the differential, there's no way to get heat out of the differential. I mean, it's aluminum, it's locked in rubber. So we came up with this design, and because we stacked the washers, we can actually put the washers on the bottom. This will be the top. And by putting the washers on the bottom, we put the snout of the differential up in the air, and it increases the pinion angle. And for the early IRS cars that have some vibration, drive line vibration, this fixes most of them. So can you use that with a stock? Yes, the answer is yes, you can, because it will replace what's on there. However, I strongly recommend that you upgrade to our heavy duty forward torque brace. The factory one is basically tube that's squashed on the ends to bolt in, and it's curved. And anybody that knows anything about engineering knows that, you know, there's no strength in curves. Strength is in straight lines or triangles. So what we did is we put all straight lines, super heavy duty. I mean, this won't move at all. And that the diff bushings, the forward torque brace, and then of course the rear steer kit that we have to help reduce roll steer is like phase one of improving the IRS. And, you know, moving up in his questions, as far as the carrier, that's stage 4. Okay, stage 1 is the forward torque brace, the aluminum diff bushings, and the rear steer kit. To get to your other question, let's see, at what point do you add the coilovers? Coilovers are step 2. Step 2 is we move to a tubular control arm. It is, I almost lost my spacer. A tubular control arm that, as you can see, is double triangulated, super strong, a bunch lighter than the factory. And swing this around. And we actually mount the shock here in double shear. Now, as far as these are the coilovers, aluminum body, custom built for me by Strange to my specifications. And this is one of the double adjustable. But on the bottom we have a spherical bearing, half-inch spherical bearing at the top. We still use the bayonet mount. However, we changed the lower bushing to Delrin because that's carrying all the load into the chassis, and any kind of rubber or urethane is going to squash out and just, you know, squash out and start getting loose. That's why we use Delrin on the bottom and a super strong rubber on the top. But on the bottom, it's a half-inch spherical bearing. On the on the stock lower control arms, we have a number of people that just want to put the coilovers on, and there are some companies that do coilover kits for that. But I'm not a fan, just simply because if you think about it, the lower control arm of an IRS car was engineered for just a shock. The load bearing for the spring was in the middle of the control arm onto the chassis. And so that means the control arm, first of all, was not engineered for a coilover package. Secondly, it's in single shear. Single shear means as if the bolt comes out and this slides onto it, so it's only in single shear. Where with ours, this is actually mounted in double shear. So we get all the pieces and put this together. I lost it. Oh well. Anyway, this is in double shear, which means it's the bearing itself is captured on both sides, and it's not going to fall off and break. So that's kind of why you really can't use our coilover package on a stock control arm. I don't even know if the bolt size will fit, but that's just kind of something that we just when we do things, we kind of do them right. And then phase 2, if you're upgrading, would obviously be the aluminum upper control arms. I'm not aluminum, the tubular upper control arms, which are half the weight of the factory. And then, of course, the fourth thing is doing the full geometry upgrade, which makes the IRS cars just handle like a dream, a total dream. So that's kind of answers your questions. I got all of them packed into one little thing. I think while we're waiting for Jim to come back, I've got a couple more questions here. Let's see. Somebody want to know about marking the race tires, putting a mark where the valve stem is to see if there's any slip under braking or acceleration. I think that's a good idea, but I'm going to preface that with my personal feeling is I don't like seeing track day cars that aren't fully set up with slicks. It's a mismatch. I mean, the stickier the tire, the more spring you need, the more spring you need, the more shock you need. A lot of people, when they think they're going to be really fast just by throwing a set of slicks on the car, and what happens is it's about slip angle. A stock tire has a certain amount of slip angle going around the corner, which means it's only going to let you go so fast, which means the car is only going to roll so far. You put a super sticky tire on there, and all of a sudden the slip angle is like super reduced. The tires grip. The tires will grip, and the body will keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And as it does, front suspension goes positive and camber, and you wear out the tires. Also, they're not going to give you much warning when they let go. To give you an idea, like a Boss Mustang 2012 has a 137 pound front spring. Our street performance package has our touring package has 350 in the front, street performance 400, intermediate track is 500, 550, and advanced track is 650 with good track tires. Now, for slicks in the World Challenge, in my late son Paul's World Challenge car with Pirelli slicks, we were running 850, 950 springs with motorsport shocks. I mean, to really make the tires work, that's the kind of spring rate you need. Because a lot of people, they'll just look at the tires, they wear the outside edge with slicks, and they keep adding more and more camber. They get 3 degrees or beyond, and Pirelli you cannot run a Pirelli more than 3 degrees negative camber. So there's a whole lot of reasons not to use a slick unless the car is set up, unless you got the right springs, the right shock, and the right suspension geometry. Then you can use slicks. But otherwise, I strongly recommend. There's a lot of other good tire choices, track day tire choices, which will work every bit as good, and maybe even better in some cases because they're not going to overwhelm the suspension. So it's kind of a little thing on. But anyway, when you do, some people do mark where the valve stem is, because race tires will, if you got a lot of grip, they will kind of shift and move. So you'll watch that. It moves very much, and you want to take them and have them rebalanced. And also, you don't really use the soapy, slippy stuff when you put them on. The good tire machines, you really don't need much at all to put them on, because the tire machine does all the work. Okay, so now we get to Ted had a question. Said on S197 on the front grip kit, does he need to upgrade to the 11 to 14 Mustang spindle as opposed to the 5 to 10 spindle? Is it because of strength or change in geometry, or maybe the hub on the 11 to plus models? Actually, it's your first. It's all about strength. When we do in the front grip kit, there's a lot of geometry changes. We change everything: caster gain, camber gain, roll center, anti-dive. When it comes to front geometry, we use an extended shaft ball joint. Now, it's kind of interesting. Everybody has these now. We were the first to market with an extended shaft ball joint in the early 90s, I'm guessing. And back then, the only one that we could find was for an ASA stock car, which had the wrong taper. So we always either had to bore the taper or use an adapter. So we were using extended shaft ball joints way back then. Now they're pretty much everywhere. But when the 05s came out, we went to a company in Colorado and approached them on making an extended shaft ball joint for S197s. So they did. So that was the first S197 extended ball joint. And then from there, we actually found a company that had a higher quality forging process that we went to. But now you can get them. Everybody's got them, and they claim they invented them, but they didn't. So, but here's the difference on the 5 to 10s. They use an 18 millimeter ball joint. Okay, that's a 5 to 10. And the thing is, they have where the bolt goes through, it's grooved all the way around for where the bolt goes through. So when you clamp it tight. And 11, they went to the 19 millimeter ball joint. Okay, you can see the difference. 19 millimeter ball joint. And the thing is, you don't see the groove all the way around. You see one little notch in there for the bolt to go through. So, I mean, there's a big difference between the 18 and the 19 millimeter in strength. So that's why we don't even make the 11 to 5s anymore. I mean, the 5 to 10s anymore. Just simply because go strong. So that answers your question. So yeah, and so we recommend that anybody that's doing it, it's got a 5 to 10, upgrade to the 11 to 14 spindles. I mean, it's safety, it's insurance. That's why we don't make them anymore. Okay, let's see. We're running out of questions, and Jim is not back yet. So
go ahead. What we're going to do? I think we should go through the presentation because I think it's pretty interesting that we have a sample trailer, and then Jim can scoot in later. Or he has so much information, Kenny, to share. We could probably actually do a separate session with him. So I'll let you go through the PowerPoint.
Okay, well, I will go through the PowerPoint then. As I mentioned, we connected with Jim a couple years ago for trailers. And getting a good trailer is tricky. There's a lot of trailers on the market, and you just don't know where to go. What to choose. And we, after talking and with Jim for a while, it became pretty evident that that's where we needed to go. They're custom built, super high quality, and they got cool things that a lot of other trailers just don't have. And so we actually have had a number of trailers built for some of our customers, and each one is kind of like custom. I forgot the blueprint. I got a blueprint for the one we're going to show, and it's on my desk. Can you talk while I go get the blueprint?
Oh my goodness. So, and actually this is Chris Melitu's trailer that we're going to be showing, and I just saw that he is attending today. So Chris, this is a surprise for you, but we'll be showing your trailer. What's really nice about these trailers is Jim's background and his philosophy is very close to Kenny's. He's a car guy. He's a race car guy. He knows trailers inside and out. So that's a really big plus. Plus, he has the same type of philosophy that we have, where you need to build the base first, build your platform, the foundation platform first, and then you add to that. So he's really strong on that. And actually, he's just showing up. So we're going to introduce him in just a second. I'll let him sit down.
I can hold up the.
Okay.
This is
go ahead.
For the trailer. There we go. Every trailer is custom built, and this is the blueprint for the trailer that you're going to see here in a minute. Okay, Jim is getting himself settled. And I'll do a little song and dance while we're waiting.
So what Jim is going to cover first is he's going to go over the top tips that you need to know when you're purchasing to look for when you're purchasing a trailer. And he'll specifically states for Mustang too, what you need to look for a Mustang, because all cars are different, different lengths, different weights. Oh my goodness, Kenny, you're eating another donut. Yeah, obviously, if you came in late, it was National Donut Day yesterday, and Kenny loves donuts, and he had some leftovers. So I guess today's called Cars, Coffee, and Donuts.
I like that. Cars, Coffee, and Donuts.
So, Jim, are you ready?
Looks like he's getting himself set up.
Yep, okay. I'm going to add him on. So, Jim, I'm going to add you on. Hey, Jim.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Sorry about that. I had let me move that so that light's not in the background there. Move around the corner here. Had a customer come from Ohio and pick it up, and we had to get some adjustments done for him to pick up his trailer and head back. So we're back in action. Again, I apologize for the delay. I want to say thanks to Kenny and everybody. Kenny, I really appreciate it. I'm excited working with you guys in Mustangs, and excited to show you different trailers and give you guys all the trailer information that you need to make a smart, correct decision so you have safe towing. We all have race cars. They're big investments to us, and keeping them safe and secure and dry and is very important. So.
Oh, we really appreciate you being here. Actually, Jim's going to do a master class for the Academy on trailers, but today he's going to do kind of like a mini master class for us. And what we're going to do is he's going to go over like the important things to look at or think about when you get purchasing a trailer. And then we're going to go through the, we got a PowerPoint on Chris Melitu's trailer that was the blueprint I just showed you, which is a really cool trailer. I mean, it's like, yeah, this really cool trailer. And the quality is just outstanding. So Jim, why don't you give everybody kind of like a quick overview of a few tips on if purchasing a trailer, what they should look for or do.
Sure, no problem. Well, the first thing, everybody always starts out usually with an old open trailer. So you got open or enclosed, and there's pros and cons to both of those. Enclosed trailers are what's most popular and what most of us prefer, because we take the time to put all this into our cars, and Kenny gets them all ready, and you want to keep them all nice and clean and dry and safe. So you can do an open or enclosed trailer. The next thing is size. Most of your guys' Mustangs are all 14.5 feet long. So you don't want to get a 16-foot trailer to put roughly a 14.5-foot car in, especially enclosed, because somehow you got to get around, tie it down. And some of us aren't that small anymore, so it takes a little bit more to do that. Plus, you're going to carry spares and tires and different things. So size is very important. The next thing is axles. You want to be sure that you have an axle size that will take the GVW of everything that you want to take, the car, your spares, the parts, everything that goes with that. And there's different sizes in those, and we can delve into a lot of that stuff later. The different types of axles. We've got spring axles, we've got an easy flex system, and we've got torsion axles. And then we can get into doors, and like the one I did for Chris, we'll show you the escape doors and different things. And then there's always the question whether you want to do aluminum or steel. And my always response to that is the last time I flew to Florida, I didn't fly on a steel airplane. So aluminum is as strong as steel and does the job extremely well. And there's different hitches and different things to look at, including making sure that things are 16-inch on center and so on and so forth. So kind of a fast speed zone there. So
needless to say, there's a lot of things to consider. I think the first thing though is the quality. I think the big thing is the GVW and axles. I think those are probably the important things. A lot of people just kind of glaze over. And if you're looking at a used trailer, I can tell you from experience, make sure the wheel bearings have been packed recently.
Yeah,
the wheel bearings have been packed and the brakes have been serviced.
Right.
Because I know so many people that picked up used trailers on a quote good deal, and only to have either the wheel bearing go out or the brakes go out. So that's from my personal experience. I know those are two things to check.
Yeah, or the brakes not work at all, or there's a structural flaw that, a crack in the frame system, a broken spring that you don't know about until you start to put stuff on it. Yeah, used trailers need to be serviced. You need to go over them real well. They can be a good deal, but they can also require a lot of money to get them back up on and safe. You want to be safe is the biggest thing. We got to push safety for this. So,
okay, well, why don't we've got a little PowerPoint we put together on Chris's trailer just to show you guys when we build a custom trailer, the things that we put into, so that if you want a trailer from us, fine. If you're looking at a trailer from someplace else, here's some things you might want to think about. So let me get to
just a quick thing on this trailer. Kenny and his team, called me and said, "Hey, we want to do these Mustang trailers." So being a car guy myself, I'm like, "Oh, this is wonderful." So we kind of sat down and we went through several things that would be specific to that and work extremely well. And I got the design working and got with the factory and said, this is what I got to have. Can we do this? Can we do that? And so we kind of designed this setup to optimize everything that you guys do so that the trailer works to the best of its ability for everything you guys have. So, and I do the same for Formula V's or any other kind of car. But the ones we did with Kenny are designed for Mustangs and designed for what we're doing. So they're very specific. They work real well. So.
Okay, well, let's get into PowerPoint. There we go. Okay, this is kind of like this. You think you guys are gonna like this? This is really cool. I mean, it's I've had a lot of trailers over the years, and this is pretty much the pinnacle of trailers that I've seen for club racers or track guys. And this shows you actually how much room is in here. There's a lot of room. Let's go to the next slide.
Yep.
Okay, Jim, why don't you tell us about the triple?
Sure. Yeah, now what you're seeing here, a picture of the V-nose. V-noses are wonderful trailers. There's two schools of thought, flat front or V-nose. The V-nose is free space. So when we calculate a trailer, and we'll say it's a 24-foot trailer or a 20-foot trailer, that is the rectangular footprint. That does not include the space of the V. And most Vs are 2 feet, 24 inches, 30 inches, or 48 inches. This is an example of a 2-foot V that gives you 1 foot 8 inches more on the inside. And then also it's an example of a triple tube tongue. And as you can see, it's an aluminum frame trailer. And the triple tube tongue is important to give safety and rigidity. And this is a platform on tongue design. And actually what you're seeing in the side where that triple tube in the front meets that down wall, that's actually a skirt. The platform is on top of that tongue. And again, that's from an engineering standpoint, and Kenny will tap into that. That's a strong way of making something to hold weight and hold load and go down the road. So,
okay. Now here's some cool things. I mean, we'll go into detail, but it's got these latches we'll talk about, these vents we'll talk about, and double row lights, and also down here, see these little things down here? Those are backup lights, and they're not backup lights back here, which lights where the trailer is going that you can't really see. They're backup lights on the corner, so they're going to be illuminating the corner to make it a lot easier to see when you're backing up. So, Jim, why don't you tell us? These are kind of really cool locks and brake lights.
Yeah, these are called vice locks. So when we order a trailer and we custom do it for you guys, we key the trailer all alike. So the key for this is called a vice lock, and that bar lock locks into that. You can't cut it with bolt cutters, but the key for this is the same as your man door and your escape door. So one key will get you in the entire trailer. So the only thing you need is a key for your tongue lock, and then one key for the trailer. But those are called vice locks. Very nice, safe, secure, bolted onto the trailer door. Again, a very good option. You're also seeing here double sets of tail lights. A safety feature that Ken and I talked about. It's like, you can't have enough rearward visibility when you're going down the interstate or going down the road. You definitely want whoever's behind you to be paying attention. And double sets of tail lights with 2 turn signals, 2 brake lights, is definitely a big safety feature. So,
yeah, I can tell you from experience of having trailers that carrying around like 4 or 5 different keys for all the different locks on the trailer is kind of a pain. This is really handy. So, and this is the you can explain that.
Sure. Yeah. What you're looking at here, this is we call ATP. Some people call it diamond plate. ATP is aluminum tread plate. So this is our aluminum tread plate fold down flap on our ramp door. This is a heavy duty ramp door that we reinforce and brace. So it's extra heavy duty. This has what we call the alpha rubber flooring in it. The old term used to be coin rubber. And the coin rubber of old was more like a tire inner tube rubber, which was stretchy. This is not that product. This is a much, much more superior product. You can turn your car tires, turn your wheels on this product, and it won't bunch up. And then the ATP flap that you see at the ramp door going in, leading into the E-Track, that's called a transition flap. So that bridges that gap so you don't have that bump stop. And it also is very nice if you're two-wheel carting tires or parts in and out of the back of the trailer. Makes it for a very smooth transition from the ramp door into the main deck of the trailer.
Yeah, that's kind of handy because, I mean, I'm sure everybody's experienced, kind of slipping the clutch to get the car in the trailer, and you get the front wheels up, and then all of a sudden the front wheels drop in the gap, and the car kind of stops, and you got to wreck the car, and sometimes it jumps, but that's pretty cool. And I think that you're doing a little redesign on this to make it a little smoother for our cars that have splitters too.
I should have that up here pretty quick. So hopefully the end of the month we'll have that redesigned so your splitters won't touch it at all. So,
and then here's one of the vents right here. We'll get to them in a second, and the loading lights we'll get to.
Yep.
Here's the coolest feature of all: a trapdoor or escape door. I can't tell you how many times I've had to hold my breath and squeeze in through the window to get into a race car, to get it out of a trailer, or to get into it to get out or get into the car and the trailer. This is so way cool. It's a trap door so that you can just open the door, your car door, and step out with no problem. And there's some special features that they put into this that Jim kind of explained.
Yeah, this is called our side escape door. It's 54 inches tall, 72 inches wide, so it's 6 foot wide. Most of your Mustangs have about a 54-inch long door. And so with 72 inches, we've got room to balance the trailer front to back. So we've got some scooch room in there. But the nice thing is what we do when we design these trailers, we lower that wheel box, and there'll be a picture coming here quick that shows that the wheel box inside is only 6 inches. But from the finished floor to the top of the bottom edge of that escape door is 8.5 to 8 3/4 inches is all. And your Mustangs are typically 9 or so, as you can see in this one. And with that design, you can open that door completely out. You can step out onto that lower wheel box and either walk around the trailer. Some guys will put a step stool right outside and go ahead and step down and get right out of the trailer that way. The other nice thing too, Ken, is when you're at the track and the car's not in the trailer, you can have that open and have access to tires and different bits and parts that you may need getting in and out of there. So,
also ventilation. Trailers can get hot, and you get a little awning there. You sit there with your lawn chair, and inside the trailer is cool. So lots of extra features. Something I just noticed here is this. You guys can see this little. This is actually a little piece of yellow tape with black arrows on it, and this is on a side skirt or side splitter. And what that is, we put that on our customer cars. That's the point that you can put the jack in to our jacking rails and jack up the whole side of the car at once. And the other trick that we do is on the jack, once we put the jack in place for the first time to the jacking rail, we'll put a piece of tape on the jack so that all you have to do is push the jack under here to where the tape lines up and jack it up. You don't even have to get down. So I just kind of noticed that, so I thought I'd point that out.
Probably use that too, Ken, for a spot to stop the car when you're pulling the car in and out of the trailer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go with the D-rings and the E-Track. So there's both of them in these trailers, and this is actually some pretty special E-Track.
Yeah, what we do when we do our E-Track, and we design the E-Track and the trailer flooring to maximize your dollars. So the E-Track is recessed into the floor. It's not completely flush, but it's close. But be sure on your trailer manufacturer, and the manufacturer I use, which is Lightning Rance, a Forest River product, there is an aluminum plate welded from rib to rib. Now the flooring is all 16-inch on center. So with this aluminum plate completely the length of the E-Track, this allows, if you can see, there is a screw in every single hole of that E-Track. So it's as strong at the end as it is in the middle. So wherever you want to put an attaching point to anchor something down, you won't have a problem. And then with the rubber floor, we got it bordered so it's nice and tidy. And then we keep the D-rings in there also. So if you do have a different strap that you want to use, or you don't have your E-Track latches, you still have that as a fallback. And then a lot of guys will use the D-rings for parts, tires, pit bike, whatever else you may want to bring to the track.
And then the step is recessed into it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your recessed. We put a step well in this, and the easy way to tell you is if you remember the picture of the front frame. Well, that the height of that frame, or that 5-inch tube, 5-7, whatever the inch tube is in front. See, that's the distance of that step, so that we drop that down. So us shorter guys, we don't have to have such a hike to get in. It makes it pretty convenient for that too, as far as our integrated step well.
Yeah, I can tell you that there's been times that we've had to use tires as steps to get into trailers. So that is really handy. I'm just, all the issues I've had over the years with trailers, I look at this and go like, gosh, why didn't I have this back then? But here's the same thing. These are the loading lights. They're all down low, so you don't have to use a flashlight. And the vent system is pretty cool too. So why don't you give us a little information on that?
The round lights we have a D-ring loading light package, and there's 8 of those, and all of our lights are all LEDs. We use no incandescent lights anymore, which everybody would assume. But those 2.5-inch round LEDs are designed so you can turn those on, and like Ken will tell you, I've strapped down race cars for 35 years better now, and every time you got a flashlight under the car, it'll roll to the other side or flip upside down and not point where you want it. Well, the nice thing about these, you can flip this on and the light comes from both the left and the right side. Doesn't matter where you're at. It'll illuminate that whole floor and make it much, much easier for you to get to use your axle straps or however you want to strap it down, which makes it nice. And then our Salem vents, those big vents in the walls, those are manually opening vents. You'll see those a lot on semis, use them a lot, and they've used those for years. You can open them forward and rearward, and the nice thing is you'll see in the one picture there's one high, and then on this other picture there's one low. So you can open the front one forward and the rearward open it to the rear. And actually, if after a long weekend at the track, you got a lot of gas fumes and gas cans, you can vent the trailer and keep all those fumes out of the trailer when you go down the road by drafting air through and in and out of the trailer to keep all those fumes out. So,
and there's an extra 110 socket.
Yeah, we can do 110 power. You can do 12-volt power. Anything you want for that as far as additions and things. But 110 power is available. 12-volt power is available. This is the picture I was referring to the low wheel box too, Ken. You can see right down there by that escape door how short that wheel box is. So.
Yeah, and then the E-Tracks are only where you actually bolt down the car.
Right. Yeah, there's no reason to pay for E-Track in the middle of a car that you'll never use. So as this example is, there's no reason to put it there. So.
And then this shows obviously the top vent, and then this is the circuitry. Mm-hmm. And there's the other vent right there.
Yep. Yeah, that's the other vent. Yeah, this is our typical 30 amp service. When we put a 110 system in the trailer, they're all labeled on what outlets are powered. They're all individually circuited. But this is a 30 amp service that we can put in them. You can get rooftop ACs. Just about anything you think of, we can get in your race car trailer to make your track experience just that much nicer and easier. I know when I go to the track, my wife is like, if we don't have AC and it's 90 degrees, it's not a happy sight. So, and then your roof vent for ventilation, you can open and close that. Some people like them, some people don't. We can build them without it. We can do a roof vent delete if you don't want it at all. But again, it's more trailer ventilation and all custom to what you're after.
And this is the what he's talking about, the extra space, which is being used very handily. It's kind of like free space by going to the Vinos. These extra cabinets.
Yeah, this is our standard 3-door bench cabinet, workbench in the front. That's a brushed aluminum top, so it's easy to clean. A little brake clean will clean that right up. 3 nice big doors for storing parts or whatever, all the extra stuff we all take to the track. And then if you notice, Ken, the little hole in the bottom of the middle door, right there, we call that a mouse hole. So if you want to have a winch and cable winch your car into the trailer, then you can mount your winch under the bench with your 12-volt battery system, and then that would be the hole for the cable to come out. So everything's concealed and out of the way, and you're not tripping over it when you're in and out of the trailer getting parts.
And the battery hides neatly underneath the bench.
Yep. And we put a shelf in there, again, so you can put all the different spares that you're going to take, shocks, brake pieces, tools, anything you want to put. We can get it all stored nice and tidy underneath there. That's the 12-volt battery system that will run all of the 12-volt system on the trailer when you're not attached to your tow vehicle. So, and that will charge when you're going down the road, but it makes it pretty handy so you can detach your truck if somebody wants to run into town or you got to run somewhere. You still have 12-volt power at your trailer for lights and stuff.
And there's the mouse hole.
Yep, that's the mouse hole. Go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say, if one of the things that I would recommend any trailer that you do, get yourself a winch. If you go to like Harbor Freight, they're not that expensive, and it's much easier. You're not going to, like, a lot of people burn up their clutches just getting their cars in and out of the trailer, or if there's something wrong, the motor stopped or you broke something and they can't drive, then it's just much easier to just hook it up to the winch and pull it in. It's also, if you don't have a big crew, I'd strongly recommend any trailer that you have, look at getting a winch and, wait to go on sale at Harbor Freight and pick one up. So go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, and when we do winches, we do winch plates as an option. Again, you can do it if you like, but we put 2 parallel plates. Now that triple tube, that center tube runs down the middle of that trailer. So you mount your winch, you'd straddle that center plate. But when we do winch plates from the factory, put 2 nice big aluminum plates underneath there so you can mount your winch in any position you want, and then have the support's already there. You don't have to do anything else other than just bolt it in place and power it up. So.
Okay, and this we're getting down to it's dual lights. Which are those switches for?
Now we always have a switch. Your interior lights are all individually switched or switched manually, so you can turn them all on or off at once. Or in this case, we've got lights over the ramp door. So if you're loading up at night, you can use one switch. We can put a couple lights over the back ramp door. You can flip that on. Helps with your seeing and getting around. We can also put switches on the side of the trailer, so you can have some work lights. But we can put a bank of switches in different places to run all your individual, either 12-volt or 110 lighting.
And I think that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
So I need to get back to, I'm clicking buttons here. Oh, I'm back. So, hey, if you guys have questions, I forgot to say in the beginning, if you have questions on anything I talked about or questions from Jim, please send them in. I usually say in the beginning, hey, I'll answer your questions live, and I got distracted with donuts. In fact, part of it's still sitting here, and I'm lusting over it. So I have to. Anyway, Carrie, have we got any questions out there we can talk about?
Oh, we sure do. We have a lot of questions for Jim, and let's see if everybody can give Jim some thumbs up and some love here for attending and sharing some of this information. One more comment. What's interesting is Jim is going to do a master class for us and go into great detail about types of axles and the size you should do for your Mustang and a whole bunch of different things. So we're really looking forward to that. So let's start with some of the questions. 10, 6, I always have to find my spot here.
This technology is something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay, first question is from Rory, and I'm going to put both of you on the screen, and I'm the brick wall there. So anyway, let's see, Rory, do you have?
Like when your conversation, you're talking to a brick wall.
That's exactly what it is. So Rory has a question. Do you, this is for you, Kenny. Do you make front lower A-arms for a Fox or SN95 that fit stock or competitors' front cross member?
No, unfortunately. The thing about my suspensions is they're systems, and it's not, we stopped like selling parts, quite a while ago, because everything we do is a system. Like in the S197, front grip kit is a system. You got the K member, the control arm, and the tie rod ends, the bump steer tie rod ends. The K member and the control arm are engineered together to work together. The same thing on the SN95. K members, the K member control arms are engineered to work together. It's like my parts aren't like mix and match, like buy one here and buy one there. Everything's a system to work together, so you get the geometry that we're looking for, unfortunately. But we do have in the SN95s, the 9495 K members are for the Windsor, and they will work in a Fox with a little bit of modifications, a few things you have to trim up, but they will work in a Fox. So, unfortunately, our control arms don't fit other K members, and just because it's everything we do is a system. Nobody engineers geometry like I do, and that's the need to keep the when you buy my stuff, it's going to work. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, who's next, Carrie?
Okay, Chris Melatu has a nice comment. He said Jim was easy to work with, and he's on the track, so he knows what you need and what you don't need. That's why we've chosen.
That was Chris's trailer.
Jim. Yep, yeah. That was. Okay, there's another one. Cliff saying, congrats. Good trailers are really hard to find. And then we also have a donut. This is Greg. Donuts are what you need to do the rear tires. So that was good. And we have another one. Rory says, right here. All I can say is when building your car, takes the time to install tie-down tabs points or screw-in points on your car. Sad to say most European cars come with them. Do you guys have any comments on that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you can, there's ways to put tabs underneath for tie downs. And yeah, if you're building a car from scratch or building a car up, think about some tie downs so that, we don't have to like put the strap around the axle and maybe hit the panel bar and bend it or front wheel. Just it makes life so much easier if you already got a place to click it down on. So yeah, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
One thing too, Ken, what I like to recommend to a lot of people is most people don't realize when we set a trailer up like we do for you guys, it's set for that car. Your front straps don't have to be ratchet straps. We can get you permanent straps that will just click into place. So if you have those tabs, you can click the two fronts in, come to the back, have two ratchet straps in the back, and boom, boom. You got two ratchets, you're right into place, you mark the floor, you're in and out of there in a jiffy, and everything works really smooth. So those tabs are real important for that type of stuff. So
I like that. As a person that's laid down and tried to crawl underneath.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, okay. What's the next question, Carrie?
Next question. Please explain standard axle versus spread axle.
Sure, that's no problem. Standard axles, spring axles are attached together with a center attaching point. And that point has a rectangular, most of the time, it's a solid rectangular steel piece. Spring axles self-level, and most people don't realize this, but a spring axle setup self-level. So if you're tongue high or tongue low, or if you're overloaded, the axle will self-level. And that's what all that little mechanism is between the standard spring axles. Spread axle design is where you spread the axles apart. Now, spread axle design can only be used in conjunction with torsion axles because you're going to open that gap up. Now, when you see a trailer that has the side wall of the trailer and the fender coming all the way down between the two axles and you don't have an outside or exposed fender, you can't see any of the suspension, that's typically what we call a spread axle design. The spread axle design is mostly used on longer trailers because it spreads the load out over the frame of the trailer to give it a little more balanced and a little bit easier tow. So this is some of the stuff we'll delve into in Masterclass, but that's kind of the nutshell of spring axle or standard axle versus spread axle.
Okay, who's next, Carrie?
We got Rory says, love that escape door.
Yeah,
That is
that's
awesome.
the coolest part of the trailer.
Yep.
And then we have Chris. Chris has a tip here. He uses the roof of the escape latch and puts a chair on it at a track event, and it's nice and cool. Stays out in the shade. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm looking for the next question here. Okay, here's from Kobe. Do you offer camera systems for backup and monitoring the surrounding?
Yeah, camera systems now, you know, that technology is advancing so fast. You can get them to be on your cell phone. You know, to integrate something into your tow vehicle is not a problem. You know, some of the major manufacturers now have the surround picture camera, which somehow, you know, it sees around the whole trailer. But yeah, camera systems are available. There's so many of them out there. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll run a deadhead 12-volt wire, and people will have a camera system that they prefer based off specifications or how they are. And then we can run a deadhead camera and then a deadhead wire, and then you can mount whatever camera you like in specific, or we do offer one already set up. So yes, they are available.
There we go.
Next question is from Greg. Do you offer the transition plates separately, and how much?
Yeah, they are available, and you can mount them. You can mount them. They're typically designed to mount onto the door and then slide into the trailer, in and out of the trailer as you open and close the door. You can mount them on the deck of the trailer and then flip them up as you go back and forth. You do have to be careful because that distance that it slides in will cover, if you have D-rings at the very, very back edge of your trailer, that transition flap will slide in and cover those. So there is some things that you want to take precaution. Those usually run, the full one for an 8.5-foot trailer usually run about $120, all set up with all the screws and fasteners. You just attach it. So.
Okay.
Okay, next question. But before I go to the next question, we're coming up to last call and questions. So if you have any more questions for Jim or Kenny, this is the time to put them in the comments box. Let me go to the next question for you. This is a good one as well. Are these trailers approved for export to Canada?
Yes, all of our trailers are North American standards. That is, yes. In fact, next week I've got them going to Alaska next week. So yes.
Okay.
Okay, and here's another one. I have a low boy open tilt deck. Have there been such a version of an enclosed made?
A low boy open tilt deck. We are working on a design to have. There's a trailer design out there that's called a no ramp. In other words, the back of the trailer drops level with the ground. To have a tilt in an enclosed trailer has not been developed yet. And I'm not sure how the engineering would work to do a tilt enclosed trailer. But in the enclosed trailer with the framing system we're talking about, we're bringing that up through the system where it's hydraulically drops it down. That no deck or no ramp trailer is available in an open configuration just because of all of the hydraulics right now. So we're working on that. So,
Well, that's another great question.
mm-hmm.
Okay, here's how long can we get these trailers in? I'm not sure what that means. Calvin, you guys understand that?
Yeah, how long of a trailer can you get on a tongue?
Yeah, typically all our trailers are available in 2-foot increments, starting at 14 in car haulers, starting at 14 feet and going all the way to goosenecks. So we can do a 32-foot or a 34-foot tag trailer, and then you can go into a gooseneck. So any 2-foot increment in that category.
I can tell you guys that my favorite size is 28 foot, 28 or 30, just simply because you can get lots of stuff in.
Yeah.
And then if you have too much stuff, if you got the D-ring set up, you kind of like inch the car back a little bit to help take some weight off the tongue. So yeah, 28 or 30 are my favorite sizes.
Yeah. Here recently for track guys, budget guys, 22 footers have been kind of a sweet spot here lately. So in fact, the people from Ohio just left, they got a 22 footer. And that's been a sweet spot too. It all depends on your need. If you're going to take a golf cart, that's too short. Like Kenny said, 28, 24, 26, 28, 30. It depends all what you want to take to the track. That's exactly correct.
Cool. Okay, well, that's a bit. He's getting all the questions today. I'm not getting any. I feel left out.
It's beat up, Kenny. It's beat up on the new guy. What do you think?
Okay, so I want to get some feedback. Who would like to get an invite to Jim's masterclass? So if you just comment, yes, I'm in, or whatever you want to comment, then we'll make sure we get you on the list to invite you to that masterclass. Okay, here's the next question, and this is a good one, and this is the last question I have right now, guys, unless somebody adds something else. So here we go. This is from Brian. On an open trailer, I'm tying through the wheel. What's your opinion on tying to the chassis or the wheels?
Well, here's the thing, and Ken may be able to shed a little light too. When you're tying through the wheels with what we call a wheel lasso or a wheel hoop, now this is through the spoke. You know, you're going to put a lot of pressure in a small area of that rim, and you don't want to crack a rim as far as that part of it goes. So you want to be careful. If you're tying through the wheel like that, my suggestion is you don't cross the straps, because then you're going to put pressure on the suspension system, left and right, or force the front tires to tow each other. The wheel nets are really nice if you want to tie over the wheel and not tie to the suspension, and those are available in several different configurations. But they're like a wheel net that goes over the whole wheel that holds the wheel in place. I'm a chassis suspension tie down guy. My race cars all have tie down hooks built in, or the tags like we talked about, just because. I think that's a much safer tow, and I'm usually going to like Road America or bigger places, so it's a little farther travel. But Ken, what's your thoughts?
Well, we've had, if you can get under the chassis, that's the best. But what I found, there's a lot of times some of our cars are like really low, and they got big splitters, which makes it really tough. So, and on our cars, we use forged line wheels, which are super, super strong. So I got no problem with them. But what we'll do is we'll actually go in the spokes and come out and put a 2x4 on the tire, and then bring the strap forward so that we miss the splitter, and make it go straight and ratchet down that way. But but we only do that because with the wheels we know are super strong.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much easier. You got that much between the splitter and the floor of the trailer, and it's like, well, what do you do? Unless you got tow hooks in the front. That's another thing. You always use tow hooks in the front.
Yeah, either way, I agree with you 100%. Your cars are so low that those wheel nets or wheel lassos are the way to go. So
yeah.
If your wheels are strong, then it should be no issue.
Yeah, because we use forged line wheels, and you need the forged line. I mean, that's the absolute top of the class.
Yep.
So, okay, Carrie, what had any more?
That's it for questions, but real quick, if one of you can give an overview of maybe Jim, what you're going to go over in the masterclass, just a few highlights of what you'll be covering.
Some of the stuff, we'll start with the basics, trailer construction. Make sure you got 16-inch on center floors, lengths for cars like your Mustang, and how much stuff you're taking to the track. Another important thing is GVWs. 3,500-pound axles versus 5,200-pound axles, or 6,000. And if you're going to a longer trailer like Kenny likes, even 7,000-pound axles. Bumper pole versus gooseneck. how to equip the trailer, escape door, positioning of everything in the trailer so that the car is in the right position on the trailer. Brakes, making sure your brakes are correct, wheel bearings and wheel bearing service, trailer service, steel versus aluminum, kind of a complete overview of safety and safety chain hookup, all the electrical system, making sure your trailer brakes are working correctly. We'll get pretty in depth in everything. So
I think anybody that has any interest at all in a trailer, I mean, that'd be, sign up. I think that'd be really good educational for you. So we got, I think, Carrie, you just said have them sign me up, or we'll probably put something in the newsletter too, I think.
Yeah, we'll put something in the newsletter, but if you want to just put your name in here, if you want us to send you a request to sign up, that would be great. So I think that is it. Boy, Jim, great information. Kenny, I'll let you take over from here.
Well, yeah, that was good. I mean, even I always learn, when we have guests on, I always learn something. So, I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about having special guests. Okay, next week, looking at my notes. Oh, Tony the Tuner. Is Tony the Tuner on next week? Carrie, is this right? We have
Yep.
Tony the Tuner?
Yeah, Tony the Tuner. And then the following week, we have a mini brake workshop. So we're going to try that on Saturday morning and see how that works.
Oh,
So-
well, good stuff coming up. For those who don't know, Tony the Tuner is somebody that we've known for a while and used exclusively for tuning. He has probably the -- tuning guy in the country for Mustangs, and it's pretty cool. He used to instruct tuning for all the different tuning manufacturers, but HP just didn't want him, anybody else having him, because he's so good. So he's full time at HP now. But when we tune our cars, we do it remotely. I don't rely on somebody local with a little laptop trying to figure out what to do. I mean, I just go straight to the man. And what we do is we'll get set up in the dyno. Kurt will use his computer. They'll log in. We'll do some dyno runs. We'll download the data files to Tony. He does a little thing. He sends the data file back. We do another dyno run, and we keep doing that till we come up with what we do. Like for example, on Cliff's FR500S with the top end package, the World Challenge upgrade package, we ended up with 380 rear wheel horsepower, and the power curves and torque curves were just smooth as silk. So this is the guy that knows how to tune cars. So I'm looking forward, because every time he's on, I learn something every time he comes on. He's so smart. And then brakes, a mini brake workshop. Brakes are pretty important on track day cars, because everybody thinks about going fast. That it's stopping can be a problem, and it's best to use the brakes rather than trees or guardrails or concrete barriers or other cars. So that'd be it's first I learned about the brake workshop. So see, I'm learning everything every day. So well, listen, we appreciate everybody being here this week, and we'll look forward to having Tony next week. And Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep,
and I think with that, I got some donut left I'm going to eat. So we'll see the Academy guys. I'll see you Tuesday night, and everybody else, I'll see you next Saturday.
thank you.